2016 Chevy Traverse. Customer's complaint is a no start, no crank. Okay, that's what we got. Absolutely nothing. So, grab the snap-on just because it was there. Hit code scan. Try to get that glare off the screen. This has a new PCM in it. Immobilizer key not programmed. Possibility. But I'm going to tell you now that that's not actually what's going on here. And while we get that going, just want to show you guys. Anytime at all that I start doing a diagnosis like this, I always like to have a breakout box on there, whether it be the line spy, the OTC, one or the other. I've been really liking the OTC now because it has LEDs on each and every pin. And that's going to come in handy in a few minutes. And I'll show you why. So it's only up to 4 systems detected right now. Let that focus again. And just to give you guys an idea, I think, let's see, can I pause that? Nope, I can't pause it. So I was going to pause it and then come back to it, but I guess I'll have to do this and then speed it up for you later. We're halfway through and we only have 4 systems. Engine, trans, anti-lock brake, body control module. We're going with what we know about those 4 already. These are generally going to be the high-speed systems. These are going to be the ones that are communicating on a high-speed CAN. When they first had the problem with this car, they don't really know what happened to it. We don't really know the back history of it. The customer just brought it in this way, swears up and down that nothing happened to the car. But we had no communication at all on any module. The ECM that was out there was actually pulling down a high-speed LAN. So this thing's got 5 systems detected. Rear differential clutch, also on the high-speed CAN. And I think that's about all we're going to get. I think we get 6 or 5 out of this altogether. But let me pull up a diagram here so you guys can see. If we go back in here and pull up. Let's see. I'm going too far for you. Go back to home. And like an idiot, I left my hotspot further away. And we come in here and we look at our data communication schematics. If we look at our high-speed LAN, and we get a picture of that. What I'll do is I'll save that just that way it's easier to see it in viewer. And we'll zoom that in a little bit. Alright, so modules that we would have on here. We have ECM up there that has one of the termination resistors in it. We have our automatic trans, our electronic brake control module, our body control module, headlamp, telecommunications interface if it has it. All those little codes there that you see inside these boxes, those are RPO codes. So there's an RPO list that'll be inside the glove box on this car. Most GM trucks will have it in there. That'll tell you whether or not it actually has it. We have a separate terminating resistor or a rear differential clutch module. We have the rear differential clutch module. So all the things that we saw on that list here are what's on the high-speed LAN. And if we look down here, our pins 6 and 14 are the ones that are blinking. So we know that our high-speed LAN right now is back up and running. What we don't have, if we go back, not that one. Hard to maneuver this and still be able to touch the screen at the same time here. Is data communication schematics again. Go back a page. Back again. And let's look at our low-speed LAN. And our low-speed LAN has a whole bunch of other things that are on here that are not being touched.
Okay, see you, Keith.
Take care. And this is, let me zoom it out here. We're missing things like door switch, instrument cluster, radio, heads-up display, content theft deterrent, HVAC, body control module. This is a secondary line. This is where the BCM is works like a gateway for the low speed. And things like side object sensors, blind spot, a lot of these things this car doesn't have, but airbag module, things of that nature. Let's go with the airbag module. If we come in here and we look, no airbag module showing, we come back out and we click on our airbag and display codes. Mind your key's still on. No communication. Well, we can actually come down here and look again, and that data link connector right there, if you guys look at pin 1, sorry to be bouncing all around here, but if we look at pin 1 comes down from the data link connector over here and then goes down into this little splice pack. That's what that is right there, JX205. Well, I'm already through that part of it here. I've dropped down JX205. That sits back here behind this headlight switch right here. So we have our JX205 down there, and what we need now is our lab scope hooked up on here. So even though I have this snap-on up there, I'm just going to grab this one because it's available, and we'll go in there and we'll set up our lab scope, 2-channel lab scope. And of course I should have been preparing this, but let's get that hooked up here. Here's our channel 1, and if we set this up, we'll bring our ground down here. We can use either 4 or 5, whichever you really prefer on this one. In this case here, I'm just going to use number 4, and I'm going to set this one up on pin 1, just like we just saw in the diagram. And when we do that, we're going to want, since we don't know where our signal is going to start yet, we're going to bring it up to a 20-volt scale, and already we can see we're kind of just sitting there around 12 volts, and that is already something that we don't want to see. So without that being there, let's see what happens if I come over here and I disconnect this. What we're seeing now is a scan tool. That is the scan tool trying to talk. In this case here, it's going from about 0 to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0 to 6, roughly, with a very ugly looking pattern. So, as you saw already, I have wires down here. I'm kind of prepared to go. I'm going to come up here. Pin 1 on this JX205 also happens to be the one that goes over to the data link connector, which I'm sure you guys can go back and review it. And we're going to take that one, and we're going to go to, let's pick any one of the other modules. Let's pick pin 2. Right next to it, if I can. Not much of a lefty anymore. And there it is. I know it looked like I was twisting into it, guys. I was just trying to get that's a curved connector. So, and if I do that, our line sits there at 0. Come back out. Let's see what pin 2 actually goes to. And pin 2, of course I would pick that one, goes up to the other splice pack, which feeds, let's get this down a little bit further, goes up to, let's see, what do we have up there? Airbag. There we go. That'll go up here to our airbag. So if we go back into airbag again, which we're still in right here, hit display codes, we should have communication again. Right? So what did that tell me already? Everything that's on that leg from pin 2, all these modules up here and everything going down here is good. There's no issue with that whatsoever. We're in there, we're talking to each and every one of those modules, whichever one it has. I have to pull up the RPOs if we want to see which ones are actually there, but since it's good, no need to. We come down here and we look. If you guys are noticing, this is a lot like the other old video I did there on the Uplander, which is class 2. GM Lan is very, very similar. And we have the body control, HVAC control, content theft deterrent. So we can jump in. Now body control, if you remember, that already showed up on high speed. So pulling it up that way would be kind of silly. We have cluster, radio. There is no heads-up display. And content theft deterrent, it most likely has in the HVAC. So those are the ones that we'll look at there. So we got like 4 pins to really check and determine why that was being brought to 12 volts. So we'll come down here And we're going to go to pin 8 is radio. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that'll be the third one in here. And again, very thin probe. Already I can see data on there. I think that data is looking ugly because we're at a 20 volt scale, which we really don't need to be, but bring that down to, there you go. Still a little ugly, but again, it also may be relative to the scan tool being hooked up on there, but I'm not going to disconnect that yet though, because we're going to be using it. So we're on that one pin right now. That's the one for the radio. If we come back in here, I'm sure it's going to communicate, but we'll check anyway. No, it doesn't like the fact that I unplugged it from the airbag, so it took a little longer. And radio, display codes, and no codes present. So we got our communication back to the radio. Just to verify that, I'll pull the pin out down there and go back. I expected it to drop out, but apparently they don't refresh the data. Not really something that it needs to do. And no communication. Alright, so we know radio is good. Instrument cluster, HVAC, body control. Let's go with HVAC. We'll go there. And where's my little jumper here? Right here. Go to pin 11. So if that was 6 up here, that would be 12 right here. Look at that. So that's our HVAC. Already we can see it already brought the line up to 12 volts. So we got screws on this thing. No, we do have. Yep. It's just one of them ones that pop out. Let's disconnect that and and the last connector. Sorry guys, my hands are slippery here. It's about 130 degrees in here. But we do that. And look already. Got data line back. Let's pull these out. Put our splice pack jumper back in. Come on, one-handed. There you go. Boom. Radio's back. Cycle the key off, cycle the key on, cluster's lit, radio's on, and we got a running car. There you go. So, heater climate control, causing a no start condition because it's pulling down the medium speed. Why would it do that? Well, let's see, we got that theft control module and our body control module that need to be both on the same line. Probably something else up there too, something else that has to relay that data over though to say that it's okay to start. But either which way, that's all it takes. Wiring diagram. Don't go into one of these things unless you have your wiring diagrams in front of you. Get it laid out for you. Be prepared. But again, if you look at pin 1 right now, pin 1 blinking away. So that's one of the things I like about this thing with all those little LEDs. And at a quick glance, that's how I kind of knew I was going in this direction, because when I turned that key on, I realized they only had 2 lines lit up. And I know that all new GMs, they definitely have. Let's see, so here we're in radio, data display, just to make sure. And in all these newer GMs, we generally have a high speed and a low speed LAN. So I expected to see at least 3 lights lighting up down there below, and there wasn't. So here we go. Alright, I guess that's the end of this video, and These guys will be getting a new climate control module. I don't believe there's any programming on it, but if there is, I'll be back for that. And everybody have a great day.